A very good morning and welcome to Newsroom right here on GHOne TV. My name is Lerato Charlotte. It's also time now to have a look at our headlines this hour. Three dead with scores injured in renewed clashes in Bembela. We will be live in the northern region for the latest development. More reactions pour in following the nomination of citizen vigilante Martin Amidu as the first special prosecutor.
All that we expect from him as a citizen of Ghana and my organization is that he will act according to the provisions of the law.
More reactions pour in following the nominations, and also you have been sharing the most important cases you think the special prosecutor should tackle.
I'm also looking at the scenario whereby you look at the current trend, which is the $100,000 to sit by the president.
Trade Ministry appears before Parliament's Cash for Seed Saga Committee to testify in the ongoing probe. Well, these and many more stories coming up in our bulletin in the next 1 hour. Stay tuned. Now, let's go live to Parliament. We're starting off our bulletin with excerpts of the committee probing the Cash for Seed saga.
The business community who would support this initiative, right? I am asking you, can you tell us what tangible or intangible benefits will accrue or be derived from this event that you are promising the expatriate business community? That's all. I'm not talking about documentary attachments.
Mr. Chairman, once that clarification has been made and there's no expectation of a physical document attached, and we are only referring to the expectation of the benefits, then it makes it even easier. Because what this letter, which was issued on the 23rd of October, is referring to is the benefits to be accompanied by the sponsorship. So at that point in time, I'm not even aware whether that sponsorship package had actually even been defined. I'm not sure that it had even. But remember, this is the start of the process, Mr. Chairman. You are organizing an event together with a private sector partner. You have your responsibility. You are supposed to write to invite and introduce the entire event to potential participants. That is our responsibility. It is defined in the MOU. So another party has the responsibility of defining the sponsorship package and the benefits. So if we write a letter in pursuance of our own responsibility that please try and file your nomination for this event and also make an effort to sponsor with anticipated benefits that will come in, I'm not sure there's any difficulty.
But, Honorable Minister, it was your ministry that was promising these benefits to the businesses if they supported it. And I'm just saying, what in the world were these benefits?
Mr. Chairman, can I please have clarity about what the honorable member is referring to? That it was the ministry that was promising the benefits. I would like respectfully some clarification. The ministry ministry promising certain benefits when that was not a responsibility assigned to us in the MOU.
Honorable Minister, I didn't write this letter. You did. Or your deputy did on your behalf. And though, he didn't indicate that he was writing on your behalf, you told this committee that you take responsibility for everything that he did. Right. And in the letter, there's a simple communication to the expatriate business community that there will be benefits attached. Okay? And I'm asking you, what benefits were contemplated? Is it tax breaks? All right? Is it contracts? What benefits were being promised to the Ghana expatriate business community in this communication?
Mr. Chairman, maybe I ought to repeat myself here. You are writing a letter to invite potential participants to an event. You have attached the criteria. And you are also requesting them to sponsor the event, which is very normal. And you are talking about the benefits that could accrue to them. There is no definition of the benefits. And at the time that this letter was being written, I'm not even sure that the benefits package had been designed, because that was not our responsibility at any rate. But we are unable to imagine a situation where you would have a sponsorship arrangement and there are no benefits attached. So when you talk about the benefits in future, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So we'll be right to draw the inference that the reference to benefits was the benefits arising out of or in connection with the package, the sponsorship.
Yes,
okay.
very, very well.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we would have made a lot of progress if this had been made clearer earlier. Honorable Minister, let's go back to the press release of Saturday, December 16, 2017, which the press release. Yes. Press statement in response to the baseless accusations relating to the Ghana Expatriate Business Awards 2017. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
We label it MOTI 5.
Yeah. Now, Honorable Minister, in that press statement, your ministry claimed that the idea of these awards came from the foundation.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Chairman.
Was there any correspondence between your ministry and the foundation to this effect? Did they write to you, or how was the idea communicated to you?
They approached the ministry and explained the objectives of the intended program, and were in agreement that it was a worthy exercise to support.
So, do you have discussion notes?
On what?
Of the initial meeting. The initial meeting with the foundation when they approached you. You have discussion notes.
Well, what we have is the original letter to MOTI from the foundation. Because in these matters, you first approach and you formalize it with a letter. So we have a letter to that effect, which we can submit.
But my initial question was whether there was any correspondence to that effect. But if you have correspondence, can we see? If you have it here?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so can we see the correspondence? Yeah. Mr. Chairman, can they make copies for it to be tendered in evidence?
Okay. Copies be made.
So was this the only correspondence from them at the initial stage, informing government of this idea? Was this the only correspondence?
This is the one that I have in my possession. I can't recall whether there was subsequent correspondence.
And in that press release, you also referred to, in paragraph 6, a sponsorship program that included a series of fundraising dinners and sponsorship packages. Can you explain?
Respectfully, Mr. Chairman, this paragraph reads, as a serious and experienced event organizer, the foundation came up, and the emphasis is on the foundation came up with a sponsorship program, as will be done by an event organizer, which included series of fundraising dinners and sponsorship packages. So, Honorable Member, when you say, can I explain, I'm unable to understand.
How many fundraising dinners were you going to have?
This, I'm sure, can be verified from the foundation.
Okay. Thanks for that answer. Can we go to your December 21st, 2017? Which one? Yeah. Can we go to the press statement by yourself on December 21st, 2017?
Yes, Honorable Member.
It was tendered to us yesterday. Yeah. Do you have a copy?
I have a copy.
And do you want to tender that copy in evidence, just in case there are material variations?
Yes, so if that becomes part of the record, so it will be Moti 6, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, so Moti 6.
Mr. Chairman? Just your guidance.
Yes.
Since you
don't label the documents, we do here.
Ah, okay. So no, it's for my own reference. It's for my own reference.
Yes. So it will be Moti 6, but yes, we will need to have a copy and duplicate. Yes, but you can look at your copy. We have a copy which was tendered by the other witnesses.
Yes, I have a copy.
Yes, we'll take your copy and label it Moti 6.
Okay.
But for now, he can proceed with the questioning. No, you keep it. Okay. Yes, we'll take it later. So you can proceed. I think they are the same.
Yes, yes. Okay, so Honorable Minister, if there's any material difference, if I quote any section and there's a material difference, please draw my attention, just in case I'm misleading the committee or the committee has been misled with this document.
Very well.
All right. Now, in paragraph 1 of that document, you flatly denied any involvement or knowledge on the part of the president or the presidency in this matter. Do you stand by that statement?
Honorable Chairman, just for clarity, maybe the Honorable Member can read it so that we know the specific phrase he's referring to.
Okay. Honorable Minister, you said in this letter, wish to state categorically as follows. Neither His Excellency the President nor any official of the presidency, directly or indirectly, or even remotely, was connected with the said event. The President was invited as a special guest of honor, and he graciously accepted the invitation and attended the event. And I'm asking you whether you stand by this statement.
Mr. Chairman, I stand by the statement.
Okay. So can we go back to your Deputy Minister's letter of October 23rd? No, I think his press release of... Is it Moti 5? Do you have the press release? Oh, somebody is frustrating me. Honorable Minister, let's go back to Exhibit Moti 5.
Yes, Honorable Member.
And paragraph 3 of Moti 5 reads, upon the conception of the novel idea, the foundation informed the government through the presidency and further sought partnership with the Ministry of Trade and Industry and so on and so forth. This was the press release of December 16th. And by December 21st, you are denying that the president or presidency had any knowledge of this event. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, I do not see any inconsistency between these two statements. And why do I say so? The honorable member is referring to the fact that the foundation informed the government through the presidency information. And the honorable member is then referring to a subsequent press statement in which I have asserted and I am confirming that His Excellency, the President, nor the presidency was not directly or indirectly or even remotely connected to the same event. Mr. Chairman, on the lighter side, if the honorable member informs me about the wedding of his daughter, that is in a figurative way, informs me and even invites me to the wedding, is there a supposition then that I become connected to the organization of the wedding? If you inform the presidency, are we then suggesting that by mere information, then the presidency had been connected to the organization of the event? That's where I do not see the inconsistency, respectfully.
So what was the purpose of the information to the presidency, and was that in writing?
It's very clear in the statement that is being referred to and which you have quoted. It says that upon the conception of the foundation informed the presidency. So it lies in the belly of the foundation to describe the nature of the information. But on the face of the record, it's very clear. They say informed the presidency. And I'm saying that the information does not necessarily mean that the president was connected with the organization of the event. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Thank you very much for that clarification. And in the same press release, Honorable Minister, you said the ministry facilitated the organization and hosting of the event. What was the nature of the facilitation? Besides writing the letter introducing the foundation, what other things did you do by way of facilitation?
Mr. Chairman, I refer the honorable member to the MOU. And that was why I started with that. That is the foundation document describing what both of us as parties did. And so this is Moti 1, 1.7, clause 1.7, responsibilities of Moti. Mr. Chairman, I've read it again, so I didn't think I should repeat. Yes.
Thank you for the reference. So in the MOU, you agreed that 90% of the proceeds will be paid to the foundation. Is that correct?
Yes, that was the understanding in the MOU.
And the ministry will retain 10%.
Mr. Chairman, once this is a reference now being made, if we can just read, it makes it very clear. We just let us read that that portion, and then I think we will. So that is clause 1.62. 1.62, Mr. Chairman, of the Memorandum of Understanding. And I read as follows. It is agreed that after all expenses are paid for, the remaining agreed funds are transferred into the MEF account. That funds left over, that's 10%, will be retained by MOTI for subsequent hosting of GEBA and initiatives that are derived from the event, such as an expatriate advocacy and support association and organization of a Ghana expatriate business forum similar to the Davos-style forum. So that is a relevant clause.
Okay, so you don't, in future, you don't intend to raise funds again. You'll be using these funds for organizing the event.
Mr. Chairman, for clarity, it says that the funds left will be retained by MOTI for subsequent hosting. So my understanding is that this will only be contributing to that process. I'm not sure that you retain 10% of funds for a whole, and that will be adequate to organize subsequent events. So my understanding is that it will go towards the organization of subsequent events.
Okay. But in the same MOU, you refer to financial support to your technical or planning team, right? Is that correct?
Honorable Member, if you could make reference to the specific clause.
Same clause that you read, Honorable Minister, 1.62.
Yeah.
The numbering is a little bit a little bit awkward, but
yes.
1.62.
So it says that, but Honorable Member, you are saying that there's an indication of financial support for beyond this 10% matter. So which part of it are you referring to?
Okay. Honorable Minister, clause 1.62. There's two there. It's supposed to be... Oh, okay. Yes, that's why I said, yeah. So it's the first one, the first 1.62.
Okay.
Yes, the first 1.62. It will be agreed that the MEF will retain 90% of all funds raised, and to ensure enough funds are there to host the entire event, and required expenses, including financial support to all members of the technical team, planning team, and publicity expenses. Is that correct? Is that?
He will answer, but for purposes of our report, because there are two 1.62s, maybe we should know how to label the first and the second, so that
1.62A and 1.62B.
Exactly. Yeah. So the first one is A, the second one is the B. So, Minister, the question is in relation to 1.62A, the first one.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Chair, my understanding is that the 90%, let's say if we raise 100 Ghana cedis, 90% of it will be retained by the foundation. This is what it says. It will be agreed that the MEF, that's the foundation, will retain 90% of all funds raised, 90% of the 100 cedis. And to ensure enough funds are there to host the entire event and required expenses including financial support to all members of the technical team, planning team, and publicity expenses. And maybe just for clarification also, because this had come up earlier, KPMG, my understanding, will be more or less described as the technical team. But then all the agencies that you refer to are part of the regular planning team, you know. So, and then publicity expenses, that is what this is referring to.
Okay. I take it that you are not trying to clarify your earlier position that there's no technical team.
You said we'll come back to it, so that's the clarification that we are giving now.
I said it because I read the MOU. Okay. But let's try to unpack this.
Yes.
90% of the gross funds raised will also be used to provide financial support to all members of the technical team, the planning team, and then the publicity expenses. Is that right? And then the remaining 10% is what will now, the residual amount for future events.
Yes, Honorable.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, is it correct to say then that the monies being raised were also being used to fund your planning and technical teams? Is it correct to say that?
Well, Mr. Chairman, it is clear on the face of the record here that the foundation will retain 90% of all funds, and to ensure enough funds are there to host the entire event. So if in case the funds raised are not adequate even to fund it, that responsibility is bestowed on the foundation. It is clearly stated there that it will be agreed that the foundation retain 90% of all funds raised, and to ensure enough funds are there to host the entire event, required expenses, including financial support for all members of the technical team and the planning team.
So was any financial support given to your technical team?
You mean the...
Yes, for the 2017 GEBA event. Was any financial support given to your technical team?
The foundation would clarify that.
No, Honorable Minister. These funds were paid into a Ministry of Trade account. Is that right?
Yes, Mr. Honorable Member.
Right. And so the foundation could not have had access to the funds unless they were disbursed by your staff or officers at the ministry.
Honorable Member, my understanding of the question is that it could not be disbursed unless the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Trade releases the funds.
Yes.
Yes, because that's part of the MOU.
That is so.
That the ministry will release the funds to the foundation for purposes of organizing the event. And respectfully, Mr. Chairman, this is normal practice. Any event organizer will mobilize resources, funds through sponsorship, and then use the funds to organize the event. Because there's no other way, particularly for a foundation, which is a company limited by guarantee, to fund this event. And the MOU was not requiring government or the Ministry of Trade to provide any financial support. So that's the criteria I was looking for.
Yes, Honorable Minister. I'm just saying that in 2017, your staff released monies to the foundation, some of which were used to fund or support your technical or planning team and to incur publicity expenses. Is that correct?
I don't have all the details, but based on this MOU, that's my understanding, that expenses in respect of the organization of the event was to be covered under the 90% component of the fund.
Well, what you just witnessed there is the Trade Minister appearing before the committee in Parliament there over the Cash for Seeds probe live from our Parliament in Accra, Ghana. We will be briefing you, of course, of the outcome of the current probe that is underway in Parliament. And now we move along to the rest of our stories in our bulletin, where citizen vigilante and anti-graft crusader Martin Alamisi Kaiser Bans Amidu has been named as the special prosecutor by President Akufo-Addo. Now, the president described the former Attorney General in the late President Mills' administration as the best candidate for the key office.
Man known by many as a strong crusader against corruption, Martin Amidu will now have the mandate to deepen his campaign against the social canker. The president did not mince words when, against all odds, mentioned his name to the over 27 million Ghanaians as the most competent person to handle the office of a special prosecutor.
I'm fully convinced that Mr. Martin Amidu, a prominent legal personality who held the high office of Attorney General of the Republic in the government of the late President Professor John Evans Atta Mills, has the requisite integrity, competence, courage, and independence of character to discharge effectively the responsibilities of this new office. I can also personally vouch for his public spiritedness. We were on opposite sides in a series of landmark constitutional cases in the period leading up to and in the early years of the Fourth Republic, well known to students of constitutional law, which helped shape the evolution of the Constitution of the Fourth Republic. As Deputy Attorney General as he then was, he conducted those cases with the fairness which should be a cardinal feature of the conduct of any self-respecting lawyer. Mr. Amidu has indicated his willingness to accept the appointment. I congratulate him on his deserved nomination and wish him Godspeed in the valiant efforts he will undoubtedly be making to enhance the quality of governance of our country.
The executive director of the local chapter of anti-graft body Transparency International, Linda Ofori-Kwafo, says the special prosecutor must strive to meet the high expectations Ghanaians have regarding his role.
Our expectations are high because people expect him to do more. People have hope in him. People are saying thumbs up to the president. It's early days yet, but we don't hope he will change. So with his personality, with his willingness to fight corruption, commitment to fight corruption, and with a good law, we are likely to make great gains. You realize that the law actually makes provision that resources should not be held back from the office. So we expect Honorable Martin Amidu to have money to do the work. The law also says that we are securing your tenure. So he has 7 years straight, and nobody can remove him until something untoward happens, and then we use the procedure set out in the law to remove him. So he has security of tenure, he has resources to do his work. Currently, even the 2018 budget that was read has realized that the Attorney General's budget was enhanced, meaning the special prosecutor money is actually in there. If you go into the details, money has already been made available for his office to work. We have heard names of possible deputy prosecutors coming up, and we know those people that their names are coming up are equally qualified to do that.
Vice President of Imani Africa, Kofi Bantel, has hailed the appointment of Martin Amidu, describing it as a great choice.
We've been fortunate to have witnessed the kind of decision-making he's capable of. We've been fortunate to have seen, without he contemplating this present job, how he will behave if one of his own goes against his principles. And the history is there for you to, look at, to the extent that the Supreme Court has commended him. So I don't think anybody has done as much as he has done in fighting corruption, even when he had to fight against his own people. So that whole notion of, would he not be biased, in favor of his people, I think has been totally disproven. He's shown us that he's a man of principle, and if it comes to that, he's going to stand up for what is right. I've heard some NDC people say that, well, what it means is that he's moved to the other side. Clearly, he has not. Martin Amidu has never made any, claim to have moved from NDC. He still claims to be an NDC person. And I don't think that if he can rise up against his own, he would have any qualms rising up against people from the other side if they make a mistake. So he has proven to us that he's capable of that and actually has done it. Whether he will do it in the future, we don't know. But again, we make our decision based on the best information available to us. And we are all happy about it. Of course, we can't tell what the future holds, but I don't think there is anybody better suited for this position than Martin Amidu. To that extent, therefore, I'm very happy with the appointment.
Former National Security Advisor and a leading member of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Brigadier General Nunu Mensah, has also been reacting to the nomination of Martin Amidu. He spoke to Kafui Day on GH Today.
He will go after cases that he has to go after. And even if, as I said before, his own son, if you are involved and you have a son, he'll go after you. And that's what, I know him to be. And so we need a man like that today. If you are going to start on this journey of trying to cleanse up society, then he's the right person for the job.
Assuming that he gets his nomination is approved by Parliament, how significant is the very first case that he will take?
I don't know which cases are pending, but there are cases like the Wyoming case that he was after. One of you can't spend more than $50 million those days. Then there are around $30 million. And if there's no clear direction as to how that money came to be, to be spent, you have to go after it. It's a lot of money. But
well, not everyone has been enthused about the nomination of Martin Amidu, though those who loathe and love him all agree he qualifies for the job. A former Deputy Attorney General, Dominic Aine, says he is ready to meet Martin Amidu in court any day, any time.
It doesn't surprise me in any way because Honorable Martin Alamise Amidu has been at this for a long time, and even when the NDC was in power, he took certain actions before the Supreme Court with a view to, for instance, retrieving monies that he thought were unjustifiably paid to certain persons, things that he thought, were acts of corruption. So for me, I'm not surprised that he has been named. I believe that even if an NDC official or a former NDC official is found or alleged to have engaged in acts of corruption, he will go after the person in spite of the fact that he's NDC. I am just only hoping that the things that he did during the campaign against the NDC will not motivate him too much in focusing too much attention or all his attention on NDC officials, and leaving out current government officials who may or might have engaged in acts of corruption. But I know him as someone who is very diligent and that he's going to do, he's hardworking, he can do a great job. Okay, but if the evidence doesn't measure up to the standard, an impartial, neutral adjudicator will dismiss the evidence. So for me, I don't think that that should send any shivers, down the spine of any person.
So on the special prosecutor's nomination, we hit the streets to find out from people what crucial corruption cases they would like Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu to tackle first. And this is what they had to say.
The corruption in Ghana is too much. He shouldn't look at which party gave him the position, but when A is A, he should be A. When B is B, it should be B. We should be truthful in Ghana. It's been long overdue. The truth is shadowing a lot of things in Ghana. So if he can stand and uphold the truth, I think Ghana will move on. He should make a difference.
Going back to 2017, I feel like the 2.5 million cedis bond, which raised a lot of concerns, should be looked at. I'm also looking at the scenario whereby you look at the current trend, which is the $100,000 to sit by the president.
I think that the appointment of Mr. Martin Amidu is okay. For me, it's okay. But my worry is his problem with the NDC guys, you understand? So if you not use it as a revenge against the NDC people, then it's okay. He should, prove what he's made of by not only arresting or attacking the NDC guys alone, but he should also go into the MPP. They are in power now and they have the chance to steal more now. Then he should be able to arrest them. If he's doing both sides, then we will judge him by what he's doing.
Oh, to me, if he's giving an approval, he should start from the grassroots. Anybody who owns the state property, he has to collect it for the state.
Well, you've heard it for yourself from the public. And one thing we certainly are also eagerly waiting for is Martin Amidu's announcement of his deputy of the Special Prosecutor's Office. But moving away from that for now and into the rest of our stories in our bulletin, gunmen at Bimbilla in the northern region Thursday night killed 3 and injured at least 7 more in what is suspected to be renewal of a raging violence linked to chieftaincy dispute. Police confirmed that there were 3 pronounced dead on arrival at the heavily constrained Bimbilla Hospital and 7 were transferred to the Tamale Teaching Hospital. It is unclear what ignited this latest violence after another last year where a woman was shot dead triggered a street protest by women demanding justice and an end to the unwarranted killings of women and children. We can now speak to our correspondent. We can now speak to our correspondent Eliaso Tanku on the latest clashes in Bimbilla. Eliaso, good day. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, it has been confirmed that 3 people are now dead of the renewed clashes. Kindly do give us details on that. Eliaso?
Yes, police have confirmed that 3 persons died when gunmen yesterday at about 9:20, just a little over 30 minutes to curfew time, arrived on a motorbike and opened fire and on a group of men who were sitting under an open structure. This particular open structure is very close to the Bimbilla Hospital and just a stone throw from a police post in that particular township. Now, police said 7 more were injured in this particular incident, and as we speak, this particular 7 people have been transferred to the Tamale Teaching Hospital where they are currently being treated. I visited this particular hospital and I saw scores of relatives of these victims come to the particular hospital to visit them. And in terms of casualties, we have not heard any report that one person, any other person has lost his life. But what we do know, or details that we got from residents, multiple of them told us that immediately the incident happened and the victims were conveyed to the Bimbilla Hospital, it took them almost 8 hours before these particular patients were transferred from Bimbilla to Tamale. We know that the Bimbilla Hospital do not have an ambulance, and that of Yendi too, the same thing. And from Bimbilla to Yendi, the road is extremely bad. And so we understand when the gunman fired on these particular people, people have to wait for nearly 4 hours before an ambulance or a vehicle was arranged for them to be transferred to the Yendi Hospital and subsequently to the Tamale Teaching Hospital. So as we speak, police told us that they have informed or they have briefed, they have tightened security in that particular area, even though the situation still looks very unpredictable.
Eliasu, do we know what triggered these renewed clashes?
Of course, no. As we speak, police said their investigation what triggered this latest incident, but we do know that there's a raging chieftaincy violence between 2 factions in that particular area, the late Nakana family and that of Na Salifo Dawuni. This particular conflict, I must say, was exacerbated by government orders for the late Natana to be buried, his body to be buried. We know that the late Natana, who contested for the skin of Bimbilla, died, and confusion arose. There was confusion over where his body should be buried, and so government at that time seized this particular body and kept it at the Yendi hospital. And so when there was change of government, this particular government, the RegSec met and ordered the burial of late Natana. And that particular incident also triggered another incident where his regent, inskin a regent, where his faction, so rather inskin a regent, and that has been increasing tension in that particular area. So even though we do not know, what triggered this particular incident, but there's a wide spread belief that it's linked to this particular chieftaincy in that area.
All right, thank you very much, Eliaso, for that update. That was Eliaso Tanko, regional correspondent, giving us there an update of these renewed clashes at Bimbilla, leaving 3 people dead and scores of others injured and still in a hospital, according to his update. Now, moving away from that into another location where at least 2 people were shot after armed robbers attacked a mobile money vendor at Busia Junction at Odoko in Accra last night. The incident is said to have occurred in the full glare of many onlookers. And we now go live to Odoko and speak with my colleague Joshua Ira, who is ready to give us updates on these said developments. Joshua, good day. Now, what have you gathered so far about this incident?
Well, Lorato, good afternoon. It's rather unfortunate. It's quite sad for the family of Satofa, that is the deceased, who met his untimely death last night at about 8 p.m. right here at Busia Junction at Odoko. Now, according to report, he was actually coming from work when he got to where I stand. That is where the mobile vendor was, this vending post where the crime incident happened, the dastard action took place. It's rather unfortunate. This is where it all happened, and as you can see, I have here the post, the vending post where it happened. Now, he was actually coming from work when he overheard a noise coming from this vending post, and he tried or made an attempt to visit or to see what was happening in there, and that was where the whole thing happened. Now, according to eyewitness, they shot him at close range in his head, and if you can see, which I'm taking you there quite a bit from now, this is where it all happened. And this pool of blood that has clotted on the ground due to incessant weather change and then the heat is where it happened. Now, this is where it was reported that his head was. His head was right here, and then the part of his body was on the other side. Now, his family members actually, after they heard the situation, came to his rescue, but unfortunately, they came to meet his lifeless body on the floor. And it has been a big blow for the residents and also onlookers and people who work around this place. The situation is quite scary for them, and so people are actually living in fear as it stands now. Now, I have with me here an eyewitness who would help us with an account, and also his family members. What is quite shocking is that he happens to be the firstborn of the family, the breadwinner of the family, and for him to have left the family at this particular state is quite unfortunate and worrisome for the family, and that is what they are actually trying to put their heads together to make meaning out of as to why he had to leave all of a sudden. Now, I have with me here John Satofe and Joseph Satofe also, and they are going to give me an account here. Please, can you come this way for me? Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Thank you for joining us live on GHOne, and first of all, accept our condolence. Right. And we cannot say, but just for the benefit of our viewers, are you okay? What are you feeling right now? Can you help us understand the situation?
Well, it's a very sad situation now, very hectic. But what can you do? It just happened. So we always give thanks to the glory, Almighty God.
Now, when the situation happened, did you visit? After you visited the police with a body, what was the outcome? What did the police tell you? And even today, what happened?
Actually, we didn't go to the police straight. We went to Kolebu Hospital because we have to give emergency treatment. So as we went, they said the bed is finished. The bed is finished. They said the bed is finished, so we have to wait for them to come and verify. So after the doctor verifying, they said he's dead. So they have to do the necessary documents for the mortuary. So from there, we went to the police station. Around 11:30 to 12, we went to the police station. We saw the state, they take our statements. So after taking our statements, they said today we have to report to the police station so that they take us to the mortuary to verify the body. So we went with the CID. So when we went, they said they need some documents from the court. So that will be Monday. So Monday we'll do that. So for now, it's in the mortuary.
It's in the mortuary now.
Yeah.
Now, the family, how is the family handling the situation? It's quite unfortunate and rather sad, but how is the family handling the situation?
It's a tough situation because the wife is very sad, and then we have to calm her down. So it's a tough situation for the family now. We don't know what to do now.
So if you want to tell us about Jude, who died yesterday, what would you say? Who is Jude?
Oh, Jude is a brother. He's a senior brother. We are 5 in Noma, 4 boys, and then 1 girl. I'm the 5th born. So he's a very nice guy. He's a quiet guy. He's outspoken. And a wife. He has a wife. Only, unfortunately, he doesn't have children. But, well, he's a very calm guy.
But did the police assure you or give you any concrete assurance that they are going to help solve this matter?
They said they came yesterday, but actually we went to the mortuary before they came. So they said they are on top of the situation, but, well, we can't tell much about their work.
Okay, thank you. Now, Lorato, I have with me here James, another brother who's also going to help me understand what the family is also handling the situation. But before I get to him, and I'll speak with an eyewitness who is here and will be speaking with us before I get to the brother. The eyewitness who was also here, and she saw almost everything that happened here. She's a bit nervous, but we will just give her the benefit and help us understand the situation. Hello, Madam Etsay. Okay. Pato uti ere muha baby. Okay. Pato ye frose.
Pato me de Martha.
Okay. Martha, de si hai and rano na uwa habiana. Okay. Ubetima cheche muka krani siye. Pote.
Pato ne dina abonti a shop ne. Ne yo a shop ne mu abonti. Tine ye meti ane say pew. Yeah. Tine I thought maybe a moto. Tine kwa make the item so kwase be no. Today we and say a mama miensa. Na me no awbo wura ma na ya transfer no. Ne shop one mo. Na ba ko su gina car no. Tine me kata madam so no. I think some kwa no ya am best. Nta bonte na me madam ye dwane kwa hide wo inside. Ti tama mu wie na car no tu ansa na ehu so mo shuti obi da ekwan no so. Ti mpoto dia me so me hu ye no.
And then here bibi say unhu say ase ba ko she bibi say ya soldier for attire ampa.
Me mpoto na say soldiers jacket na watre eche no akata nitri.
Oh, okay. Essentially what she was trying to say is that she was here when the whole thing happened, and she was just trying to nestle her baby to sleep when she had the sporadic gun just blaring from a few meters away from where she was working, and she tried to peep through the glass pane to understand what was happening, and she saw everything. She saw the suspected armed robbers. Actually, one is believed to be an attire of a military camouflage attire, and that was what she was saying. And then she had a gun display, a gunshot, and so she tried to take cover and also run for her dear lives, as the others also did here for themselves. And now finally the brother is here, another brother of the deceased. We just speak to us, Bacho. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please, can you come this way a bit for us now? In just a brief statement, what is the family going to do next? Now that after visiting the police and in the hospital and being pronounced dead, what is
Hello,
the family
Joshua,
going to
if you can hear me.
Now, we are waiting. We went to the police station this morning, and the police told us we should come on Monday for some coroner reports. So we'll carry that coroner report to the mortuary. After we make everything in the mortuary and everything go through, we'll prepare for a burial.
Okay. All right, Lorato, So that's what we have. The family members are actually preparing for the burial, and it's something that they wouldn't want to sit on the matter for long because it's rather...
Thank you, Joshua. Because of time there was Joshua giving us an update of a very sad event that took place there at Odoko, where an MTN vendor has been killed last night. We will be following up on the case closely, of course, to find out how the police are treating this. But for now, a short breather. We'll be back with the rest of our bulletin. Well, welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, you're watching Newsroom right here on GHOne TV. Time now to have a look at some of our business stories. The Finance Ministry has issued the bond calendar for the first quarter of 2018, where government would be seeking to raise 11 billion Ghana cedis to finance its maturing debts and also support government's financing requirements for the period. Now, the amount is about 36% lower than the amount government issued the same period last year.
A statement on the Finance Ministry's website indicates the calendar is developed based on the 2018 net domestic financing as stipulated in the 2018 budget and economic policy of government, with considerations made on domestic debt maturities and a medium-term debt management strategy for 2017 to 2019. A research analyst with Databank, Courage Kingsley Mate, said a careful observation of the calendar for the first quarter of 2018 shows government considered its debt objective of lengthening the maturity profile of public debts.
The expected maturities for the first quarter of this year to be rolled over is estimated at 8.9 billion cedis. This is about 42% lower than the maturities estimated for same period last year, which was 15.5 billion cedis. So overall, you can see that the decision by government to borrow long-term and use it to refinance shorter and frequent maturities is yielding results.
And we now go beyond the borders of Ghana to find out what has been making headlines in the international news segment. United States President Donald Trump has reportedly lashed out at immigrants in a foul-mouthed Oval Office outburst. The remarks made during talks on an immigration deal was apparently in reference to people from Haiti, El Salvador, and African countries. Trump used vulgar, demeaning words to describe these said countries. The White House made no attempt to deny the comments. In recent weeks, the Trump administration has been trying to limit the number of family members of immigrants who can enter the United States and has moved to end the protected status of thousands of immigrants already in the United States. Now, according to the Post, Mr. Trump told lawmakers of the United States that U.S. should instead be taking in immigrants from countries like Norway, whose prime minister visited him a day earlier. Time now to have a look at our sports stories. League. Now, the management of the bank last year made known their intention of not renewing their sponsorship contract with Ghana's second Thai league after seeing out their initial 3-year contract with over 2.1 million Ghana cedis.
We made a decision that, given the opportunity, we would want to sponsor the Women's League. So that's what I've asked my people to discuss with the league, to see if it's worth sponsoring them or some other aspect of the football in Ghana. I'm sure you've heard my comments about Division 1. It was a horrible experience. We nearly pulled out after 1 year, after 2 years. We stayed for the whole 3 years because we had made a promise that we would be there. And it was worth sponsoring to show what can be done and the burden that you left off the various administrations within the league.
Well, this brings us to the end of our news bulletin today. Thank you so much for tuning in today and every other day of the week. You go ahead and have a splendid weekend. We leave you with some social media reactions pertaining to the special prosecutor's appointment of Martin Amidu. So you enjoy.
After President Akufo-Addo's announcement of Martin Amidu as Ghana's first special prosecutor, social media went agog with some interesting messages. Here are a few. Imani President Franklin Kujo wrote, Martin Amidu, Mr. President, you are a wise man. Now give Amidu unfettered access to information to go after everyone, including your own. Mawuli also wrote, our president at Nana Akufo-Addo set a beautiful precedent today in anointing Martin Amidu. For the sake of the future of Ghanaian jurisprudence and politics. Well done, sir. Abdul Karim Ibrahim, no matter what happens, the impression this nomination creates is the most important thing now. Anyone else would have been problematic. For Martin Amidu and what we have come to know him for, I am certain in my mind that should there be the sort of interference we feared come, he had honorably resign and make the necessary noise about it. Patrick Finn also wrote, Martin Amidu's appointment as special prosecutor will go into history as one of the best decisions any president took. This is the mark of a growing democracy.